Hello and welcome to Find Your Lady Tribe. Brenda, what do we have going on today?
Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you just kind of like are in this funk in life? You are unmotivated, you're lacking clarity or in direction, and you just really don't know why? Well, you might be surprised at the answer. So stay tuned. Welcome to Find Your Lady Tribe. I am your host, Brenda Ridgely, author, speaker, and midlife women's coach. This season is dedicated to your midlife mindset, so be sure to subscribe now to be notified of a new episode each week. I am honored to be joined this season by co-host Tresson Bryant of Love and Life Coaching. She is a mindset, trauma, and relationship expert. Join our inner circle to be the first to know about retreats, workshops, events, and receive tribe-building tips. Go to tinyurl.com/Find Your Lady Tribe to join. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hello and welcome back. Today, Brenda and I are talking to each other about the midlife funk.
What is that?
I don't know, but I think at some point in time we may have all experienced some sort of it in some fashion. Maybe we're going through a transition in life and we're not really sure how to handle it. Maybe we've got some major changes coming up, but they're new to us. We know we want to experience something new, but we're not really sure how to navigate those things. So,
right, or maybe it's just the humdrum of life has just you're kind of on body autopilot.
Oh yeah, that happens too.
And you get to a point where it's like, I'm going through the motions, but where is the joy?
Yeah. We want to get to a point and be at a point where we're thriving, right? Where things feel exciting and good. And of course we have challenges, but we navigate them well. And
right. So what kind of midlife funk have you ever experienced? I mean, I know I have my share.
Right. Well, I could just think of just off the top of my head when I was faced with a divorce. And I knew that I was going to experience a whole new direction. I had been experiencing a new direction of growth outside of what my husband was experiencing. And we were going different directions. And I didn't really know how to navigate that. I just knew it was a strong pull to learn something new and take a new direction. So what about you, Brenda? What have you experienced?
Mine was more of a loss of myself over a decade. Or more of time, where I went all into my roles, that the important job of mother and wife and all that, and my business, and slowly kind of just let myself go, let things go, to the point where one day I didn't recognize who I was anymore, and I couldn't understand why I was like, had this funky feeling in my gut where I was like, I'm not motivated for anything. I do not want to do all the things on my to-do list, right? And I just didn't even want to get out of bed in the morning. And, I got to a spot where I really could have used a little help.
Yes, absolutely.
And unnecessarily, it took me years to get through something on my own that could have been taken care of in a matter of weeks or short months.
I think sometimes the hardest thing to do, especially when you are an independent person or you're a person who on the opposite side of things might be shy, might not be A-type personality like I am, who, is charging sometimes, but maybe you're a little quieter. Either way, it might be difficult to ask for that help that you need.
Right.
Sometimes. So where can a person turn? I mean, what is the answer to that? Who do you turn to when you're looking for help?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, first we always don't we always turn to our family and friends first off, right?
Right.
And that's one thing that I found I was missing. I mean, I had plenty of family, but everybody needed something from me. And it wasn't the kind of relationship where I could go to, I felt like I opened to speak with them about the feelings that I was having.
And sometimes privacy.
And privacy.
It can be an issue.
Yeah, right. So, and then I discovered I didn't even have really the deep enough friendship connections to have that conversation there either. Because I had my friendships were pretty superficial. It was all about the good stuff in life, and nobody wanted to talk about that other stuff. So I really needed someone that I could just bounce ideas off of and share my innermost ugliness.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Be vulnerable. I mean, that, That's the first step to being courageous, actually, is being able to be vulnerable, but it's needing a safe space to do that.
Right. So the years that it took me to get through this, one of the big keys that I found and why I do what I do today is reconnecting to people.
Yeah.
Deepening some friendships, having a handful of go-to tribe members, your BFFs, your people who know the good, the bad, and the ugly of your life. And I love helping people that kind of, it's surprisingly, have forgotten how to make friends anymore.
Yeah.
Have forgotten how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of get put together when we're kids by our parents, and then we sort of, find a little bit of that on our own when we're in our teenage years and adolescent times. But of course, then we get off into roles, like you said, and we do lose some of that. So it's nice to have help with that reconnection and some guidance on that. So, I wanted to ask you, you're a coach. And I would love it if you could share with our audience just some of the ways that you're helping somebody who's feeling like they're in this funk.
Well, yeah, I'd love to. I've found that there are about 10 strategies that one can embark on that really, really shorten that learning curve of connection. And the connection curve, I should coin that, right?
Right.
Because again, people feel a little socially awkward these days, and everything's become so virtual. So how do we reconnect and become, just eyeball to eyeball, knee to knee, hugs, those kind of things that we've been missing.
Exactly.
And these strategies can be implemented over a matter of weeks or short months. And so when I begin working with someone, what I really love to do is really, really listen and learn about who they are. Where they are, what is their heart's desire, who do they want to be when they grow up? Right?
Yeah.
We're still there. We're still doing that, right?
Yes.
Even in midlife. And what perceived problems, and you notice I say perceived problems. That's kind of the job of the coach, is to kind of ask questions around those perceptions to identify if there truly are an obstacle, or maybe it's there for you.
Yes.
But anyway, I want to figure out what they may feel they're facing that is keeping them from their goal and perfect life. So, and I'm sure you do this too in your coaching practice, but I do this by asking a series of questions and really, really listening and asking follow-up questions. And, what's the coolest thing is someone who hasn't been listened to in a long time, right?
Yes.
And after the first session or so, that just the feeling, I mean, you can feel it through the telephone, through your Zoom, through your one-on-one session, that it's just like this enormous weight that is released just having someone that really cares and is listening to you.
Right.
So first I want to find out, what do they really want out of life? What do they even know?
I was going to say, a lot of the clients that you probably have, maybe they don't even know where they're starting.
Or they've forgotten. Right?
Yes.
So a lot of the work is, even though my expertise and focus is on relationships and friendship, we have to start with the leader of your tribe, which is you.
Yes.
And really get to the heart-centered goals, desires, wish list of life. Right?
Yeah.
And
which is actually so fun if you let it.
It can
it's
be
a fun.
pretty
It can
exciting.
be. I mean, seriously. Yes.
Yeah. So, what is their dream life? What does it look like? If they were to write a movie about their life, what would it be? How would they feel? What would they be doing? Who would they be with? So just putting it all out there, and kind of starting to visualize it. And why do you want this? Why do you want this life? What's in it for you? How does that make you feel? Right. And then going on to kind of backtrack a little bit and say, hey, what's the reality?
Right.
What's your living condition right now?
Yes.
Right? Where are you at?
The starting point.
Where's the starting point?
Yes.
And what are the challenges that you're facing right now? And I really want to hear, the heart focus of what, how that's bringing you, pain possibly,
Right.
how that's affecting you in the relationships with your family, in your relationship with yourself,
Right.
and what is stopping you possibly. I mean, have you ever felt like something's holding me back? I'm not sure what it is,
Yes.
but something.
Yes, and I think it's so helpful when you have a coach that will ask questions, because when you've got somebody that's actively listening and asking questions, you're kind of able to get down on a deeper level. So as you're asking your clients these questions, you're helping kind of guide them along so that it's a path. You're providing a pathway.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of these questions, I don't think people have ever really sat down and asked themselves. So it's really
Right.
nice when you let go and let somebody assist you with this. Sometimes it's easier to let someone else think of those questions.
Right, absolutely. And the path, you're exactly right. Someone that can, from an objective perspective,
Right.
start laying down a path. When you think of an end goal that you're so far away from,
Yeah.
and you try to just work towards that or visualize that, visualization's absolutely great and important, but kind of can get intimidating sometimes and kind of feels like, oh, I'm not really making any progress. But what are the steps that you can take on a daily basis, and having someone help make suggestions, and with your back and forth collaboration, figure out what it feels good to you to take those steps.
Right.
So, and this is a real important one. What is it costing you to stay where you are in this funk?
Yeah, that is a big question. I think that we are in our uncomfortable comfort zones, and we have been there for a long time sometimes. And so it can cost you monetarily, it can cost you emotionally, and a huge one, Brenda, it can cost you health-wise.
For sure.
I mean, it can cost your health. So that's a huge question for people.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the health piece, I mean, connection is probably the number one indicator. Your connections are the number one indicator of your health overall.
Yep.
Over diet, over exercise, all those things, if you don't have these healthy connections, it could absolutely impacts your health in a negative way. I think I read something, 15 cigarettes a day is the same as being lonely or being disconnected.
Yeah.
So finding out what is stopping you, what the costs are, and then I like to find out, what if we were to just accomplish one thing, or together, what if you were to accomplish one big thing in this next year? What would it be? And sometimes, a lot of times, that they hadn't even thought about what kind of a big goal that could get them excited. That's what I want to help women in particular establish, is get that burning desire in your gut. Get rid of the funk, and melancholy is gone.
Right.
And get that burning desire for, even if it's one thing that is going to change your life.
Yeah, and sometimes it only needs to be one thing, because you've already got so much going on. When we overwhelm ourselves with too much, I mean, one thing is a great place to start. It's doable.
Right.
It feels like you can do it. And then to have a coach's accountability and the pathway that you're lining out. Now you begin through this series of questions that you're asking, and the things that you're doing, and the way that you're really showing up and caring for your client. And you can call them out on their own BS if there's some of that comes up, which we all need accountability in that. We all do it from time to time. It's really nice and refreshing to have somebody that's not just really personally connected to you do that. And then also just the pathway. So now you start feeling hopeful, and you feel excited, and you feel like you have a plan, like a workable plan that's presented, where you're collaborating with your client. You're not telling them what to do, are you? All right, so Brenda, this is great. You've asked your clients some really awesome questions, and you're kind of guiding them and actively listening. What would be the next steps?
Well, the end of our first call will complete with basically just me giving them a really simple mini plan to get started. Something, those first few baby steps, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah, one bite at a
Bite
time.
at a time. That's right. So it's just something super easy and achievable. But at the same time, we'll talk about what the next steps might be. How is it working together over the next, 30 days, 3 months, 6 months? What is that going to look like? And how often are we going to meet? And what are we going to do each time? And what's comfortable amount of progress? What's a comfortable way for me to hold you accountable?
Sure.
Right? Set some ground rules and expectations. If you really have a hard time with feedback, I want to know about that right off the bat. And what's the best way for me to talk to you and approach? Because it's all in love and caring and understanding that we're having these conversations, and you're being super brave,
really,
and doing something different. And I want to make sure that we respect each other's time and the way we communicate with each other. So that's kind of how we get started and decide how we're going to work together over the next few months.
I love it. It sounds fantastic. And when this beginning session happens, is a person calling you, or are they going through your website? How do they do that?
That's a good question. There's lots of ways. Some people just are Googling, I need a life coach.
Right.
That's great. In my area or whatever. But, as someone who's kind of seeking connection and friendship, for sure, they're going to find me either through my website, on social media. And I have a complimentary session to begin with.
I love
just to see if we're a good fit. And from there, we just go baby step at a time in the direction of your dreams.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
So no obligation in the beginning, just to connect and.
Right. There's no way to lose just by having a conversation.
Exactly.
Nothing that can hurt.
Exactly.
And you're absolutely going to learn from yourself. So down the road, once we've figured out a bunch of the me stuff, what drives you and what's, where at a point where you feel like you kind of know what your purpose is and a little bit about what you have a new passion for, or you're revisiting an old passion. And I'm not talking about love, I'm talking about in life. What do you want to do?
Sure.
What excites you and what ignites you? Then we start figuring out who we need in our life to collaborate with and to connect with, and what kind of people do I need that are going to support me and lift me up and be that person to call me on my stuff,
right?
And be that sounding board, because the goal is not to have a life coach forever. Right. The goal is to get you into a position and a support system that works for you. Right. Not that you won't need. Everybody needs a little help sometimes.
Exactly.
On a different issue, but we want to get you set up and get some tribe building skills and figure out how to create some real deep, intimate friendships again that are safe. And because a lot of women I talk to are kind of, I call them jaded. And we all get jaded sometimes because we've shared something with someone, or someone we felt they betrayed us in some way.
Maybe the confidence was betrayed. Yeah,
the confidence was betrayed, or we just don't feel like we even have the friends that really care about us. I mean, have you ever been there? Like, you're not even sure.
Yeah.
What their motives are.
Well, and when we're making a lot of changes, Brenda, don't you feel like we're really going into a new identity of sorts? And
Absolutely.
So you're helping them navigate what that new identity is, and they're finding out who they're going to allow into their life, not how they fit into everyone else's, but aren't you helping them with that new identity, and who could support them in that?
Who are your people?
Right.
We all need to have our people.
Yes, we do.
And we need to have a few of them who don't really need anything from us.
Oh, gosh.
Other than just being a companion and a confidant.
Yeah.
So how can I build these relationships and really know that they're not going to break my heart?
Right.
And there's strategies for this.
Cheerleaders and people who won't go down the wrong, maybe you have a verbiage or a story that you're starting to tell, and maybe somebody who's not Maybe somebody knows what your new goal is, and they're going to hold you to the newness of it.
Right.
They're not going to go down the old story path with you because they know you have this new thing. People like that who are uplifting.
Right.
And joyful themselves.
And once you have established, your own why and your own excitement for the next thing in your life, and then you have your tribe.
Right.
Oh my gosh, ladies, that's when we do what I'm most excited about is. Yeah. How many things am I excited about, Tress?
Well, a lot of things, but that's why I love you, Brenda.
I believe in my soul that women, and especially midlife and on, we have the power within us to save the world, to change the world in a meaningful way, make it a better place. We all want to be contributors, but we can't be effective or as effective as we'd like unless we've established this for ourselves, this identity and this who are our people, where we belong, how we fit in. From that vantage point, we are unstoppable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it affects our children. It affects our relationships with our partner or spouse. It really does affect every part of your life when you have that knowing. And man, your coaching program can just help a person really get to know themselves and what it is that they want, why do they want it, and how they can get there.
Right.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. So my challenge for all of you is just, if you are feeling this funky feeling, you just can't put your finger on it, what it's all about. Whether it be with me or someone else, there's lots of great coaches out there. It's worth a phone call. It's worth just a little discovery call to learn a little bit about yourself. Yeah. And, beyond that, we need to find our tribe. And we need to find those people that can be that support for us.
Absolutely.
And for me, that's what it's all about. It's so important.
Absolutely. I love it so much. It's so good, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We always kind of wrap up by sharing with you guys, the audience, and us. When three or more gather, we are tribe.